Back in July of last year, I was asked to perform at the Taste event, which I agreed to do. Now, let me tell you how this went down, because the details matter here. I told them, well, in my contract, I clearly stated that if you all fail to contact me, you should pay me $$8000. First of all, let's pause right here. We need to talk about that word should. Let me explain something real quick. When it comes to contracts, real, solid legal agreements, the word should does not belong. That's not how legal language works. There's no should in enforceable contract language. A properly written contract will say will, must, shall, or is required to, something with real force behind it. But should, that's a soft, non-binding word. In legal terms, should is basically a polite suggestion, not an obligation. So, if you come into a meeting or a courtroom talking about what someone should have done, you're already on shaky ground. That's just not how contracts work. All right, let's dive deeper into what happened. Fast forward to the March 25th Thornton Township meeting. This lady, let's call her out properly, comes up to the microphone, and you can tell right away she's got some smoke for the trustees. She's heated. She's got grievances, and now she wants her say. Fair enough. But here's where it gets interesting. I went back and compared what she said at that March 25th meeting to what she's saying now at the most recent meeting. Same topics, same issues, but guess what? I caught a big discrepancy. And if you know anything about me, you know Mama's real good at spotting those discrepancies. Let's get into it. She introduces herself. My name is Catherine Granberry. I am a township employee. I've been here for 12 years. All right. So she's been around. She knows the ropes. She continues. Back in July of last year, I was asked to perform at the Taste, which I agreed to do. Angela asked me to submit a contract/proposal, which I did that same day. Okay, so far, so good. Sounds straightforward. She says this happened maybe a month and a half before the actual Taste event. Angela told her she needed to bring the contract to the board for approval. Now here's where things start to twist. Catherine says as time passed, she kept asking Angela, just casually, in the hallway, "Hey, did they approve it yet?" And Angela's response was basically, nothing happened. So Catherine figures, okay, no update, still pending approval. But here's the weird part. Catherine then says, meanwhile, me and my band, Lady and the Gent, we were so excited to perform on the same stage as Kiki Wyatt. Wait, hold up. That's odd, right? Didn't she just say she didn't know if they'd approved her? So the approval was still up in the air, and yet she and her band were already hyped about performing at this event? That doesn't line up. Let me break this down. She's acting like their excitement was a sure thing, like it was all locked in, even though approval hadn't happened yet. She says, we were excited to be on the same stage as Kiki Wyatt. That's a big reason why we're here right now. Okay, so let's be real. Kiki Wyatt is a big deal. She's a famous singer. She's got a real career, real talent, real fans. Getting to perform on the same stage as her? That's a huge opportunity. So yeah, I can understand why Catherine and her band were pumped. But let's not forget, as far as we know, nobody had officially approved anything yet. Now here's where it gets even more tangled. Catherine says that same day, whatever day she's talking about, someone else asked to perform at another event, and she says she turned it down. Why? Because she and her band were excited to perform at the Taste with Kiki Wyatt. Okay, let me pause you right there, Catherine. Nobody, and I mean nobody, told you that you couldn't take another gig while you were waiting on this one. That's not how this works. If you choose to turn down other offers before you have a signed, sealed, and approved contract, that's on you. You can't go blaming other people for that. And honestly, you can just tell she's stretching the truth here. I can feel it. It's giving very much. I'm just saying this to make my case sound better. But when you listen closely, the pieces don't fit. Trust me, you'll see why in a second. So time passes. Catherine says they missed the concert. I gave up my day, she claims. But here's the kicker. She didn't even know what day the event was supposed to happen. How do you give up your day for something if you didn't even know when it was scheduled? She's acting like she sacrificed her time. But if she didn't know the date, what exactly was she giving up? And here's another layer. When she eventually found out the date had come and gone, she was shocked. She was like, what? What happened? Nobody contacted me. And let's not forget, she only realized all this after someone else brought it up. She didn't even notice on her own that the event had passed. So again, how could she have canceled another gig for this one when she didn't even know when this one was? Something here doesn't add up. But okay, let's keep moving. She says, we gave up our day, we didn't get performed, and then the money came around. She describes being at the front desk when Robin says, "Hey, Trish, we got a check there for you." And Catherine says she asked, "So when was someone going to tell me I was performing?" Notice what's happening here. She's still acting surprised about the timing. Even at this point, after the event, she says, "This is Monday already." She's saying she didn't even know she was supposed to perform. And then we circle back to the contract. She says, "Well, in my contract, I stated that if you all fail contact me, you should pay me $$8000. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's hold up again. First of all, don't come in here throwing around legal jargon like should and expect it to hold weight. That's not how contracts work. In the world of legal language, should is not binding. It's not enforceable. A contract that says should doesn't mean someone is required to do something. It just suggests they ought to. A real contract will say must, shall, will, or something equally firm. So when she's sitting there saying, "Well, my contract says you should pay me $$8000, what she's really saying is, "My contract suggests that maybe you ought to pay me $$8000 if you didn't contact me." But suggesting something is not the same as legally obligating someone to do it. That's the difference between having a strong legal claim and just being frustrated. So when you peel all this back, what you see is a lot of emotional frustration, a lot of confusion, and a lot of missing details, but not necessarily a rock-solid legal case. And then she goes on, "In my contract, I stated that if you fail to contact me, you should pay me $$1000. Should? Let's pause right there, because that word matters. That's awfully specific. Not if you approve me and cancel. Not if you sign me and don't show up. No. She says, plain and simple, if you fail to contact me, you should pay me $$1000. Did you know that was a thing? Apparently, according to this lady, you can just write that into your contract and boom, it's enforceable. I didn't know that. Like, seriously, 46 years of my life wasted, not demanding $$1,000 from every job I applied to, every gig I asked about, every time someone forgot to call me back. I could have been rich by now if I'd known I could just declare that people owe me for not contacting me. Lady, listen. This is what you sound like. You should have heard yourself when you said should, and you should have stopped right there. If you're going to lie, at least lie better, okay? That's all I'm saying. But no, we're still not even at the core of this yet. Let me break it down. Now she's switching gears, pulling in the legal talk. So now since I said that, now we're going to put the legalities in it. She explains, "I've been performing for the township for many years. For the taste, for Frank's dinners, for the picnics. My band has been performing all the time. I've never had to go through this to get my money." Okay, so what she's saying here is, I've done a lot of gigs with the township, and I've never had this kind of issue before. Fair enough. That's her personal history. But then she throws an emotional punch. "I felt like the township slapped me in the face to not pay me what I asked, to not honor my contract, and to pay Kiki all that money to sing 20 minutes to karaoke tracks." Oh, that's cold. It's wild how quickly the tone flips when the drama around Kiki Wyatt comes into the conversation. Let's rewind. This same woman was so excited about the gig because Kiki Wyatt was part of it. She said herself. She and her band were thrilled, hyped, eager to share the stage with someone like Kiki, a respected, real-deal singer. But now, suddenly, Keek's being disrespected, tossed in the bus, dismissed as a karaoke singer who got all that money for just 20 minutes. That's the same Kiki you were hyped about before, right? The same Kiki that made the gig exciting for you? So, which is it? All that praise and excitement just disappeared when the township didn't pay you. Let's be real here. Kiki Wyatt is a big deal. She's accomplished, talented, and worked hard for her spot. She was out there, in the rain, performing for the people who showed up, even if the crowd was small, even if the weather was bad. She gave it her all. Meanwhile, the woman complaining didn't even get the chance to perform. She didn't get the exposure. She didn't get the applause. And she didn't get paid because she wasn't part of the final lineup. Now she's upset, feeling like she was beneath Kiki, like the township should have treated her the same or better. But let's break this down carefully. She's making it sound like she's entitled to money, $$1,000, because they didn't contact her. Not because they signed her, not because they approved her, but simply because she wasn't contacted. That's a whole new level of entitlement. She's acting like she was the one who put in the hard work, the sweat, the rehearsal, the dealing with broken equipment, the last-minute scrambles. But the truth is, she wasn't even there. She didn't perform. She didn't show up. She wasn't involved. And yet she's demanding to be compensated for something she wasn't part of. It's like she's living in this fantasy world where she thinks she has a right to get paid just for existing in the orbit of the event. And let's talk about this legal argument she's trying to make. She says they should pay her. But as I said before, should is not legally binding. Should is a polite suggestion. It's a wish, a hope, an idea. Contracts don't work on should. They work on must, shall, or will. You can't march into a courtroom waving around a contract that says, you should pay me, and expect the judge to say, absolutely, here's your check. That's not how this works. Even if she feels wronged, even if she genuinely believes she was mistreated, should is not going to carry her over the legal finish line. And let's not forget about Trina, who's in the background, hyping all of this up. Trina is like gasoline on this little fire. She's amplifying the energy, kicking up the drama, making everything bigger and messier. She storms in, tears everything up, then claims, I'm not trying to start trouble. Girl, you know exactly what you're doing. You're playing the game, and the second things don't go your way, you're quick to blame everyone else. Honestly, the whole situation makes you question how people assign value to others. Here's Kiki Wyatt, with her accomplishments, her reputation, her talent, performing in bad weather, pushing through in front of almost no audience. She still deserves respect for that. She was there. She did the job. Meanwhile, the woman complaining didn't show up, didn't perform, didn't contribute, and now wants to act like she deserves a payout for her non-participation. That's wild. It's crazy how quickly this turned into a full-blown mess. First, the woman is hyped to share the stage with Kiki, excited, proud, feeling like this was a huge opportunity. Then, when things fall apart, she's trashing Kiki, acting like Kiki wasn't even worth it. She flips from fangirl to critic in no time. And now she's trying to claim she deserves $$1,000, because she wasn't contacted? Let me tell you, that makes no sense. You don't get paid for gigs you weren't part of. You don't get paid for hypothetical opportunities. You don't get paid because you imagine a scenario where someone was obligated to call you. And then she layers this all under some shaky legal argument, as if throwing around legal-sounding words will make it stick. But anyone who knows anything about contracts knows this. Shit doesn't get you paid. No judge is going to say, well, you said they should pay you, so here's your check. Especially when there's no evidence of a formal, signed, binding agreement. What's worse is that she keeps pushing, keeps showing up, keeps demanding something she isn't entitled to, and she's hoping that if she applies enough pressure, someone will cave. She's banking on pity, on frustration, on wearing people down. But here's the truth. The more she talks, the less credible she becomes. So yeah, she'll probably keep coming back, still hoping to get something out of this, still expecting someone to throw her a bone. But at the end of the day, should doesn't pay the bills. And a lawsuit based on should is going nowhere fast. This whole situation is a mess, and honestly, I'm here for the drama, but let's be clear, she's not going to win this one.